me saying, I only do what I do because I'm after clicks.
I never said that about you.
You did.
I know that you mean well, but you are trying to two-sided.
You're too one-sided.
We should believe that Hamas went in with AK-47 and caused that kind of damage.
What's your argument? The Israelis did all that themselves. A series of reports of women who were raped and abused by Hamas. You don't believe any of them?
Don't highlight the racism. Like there was leaving stereotype of an Arab liar. Okay, guys, they're accusing Arabs of being stereotypically liars. I don't like that. I don't like that on this channel. Okay, we have many Arab activists doing secular work, doing atheist work, doing pro-Israeli work, LGBT rights work, and I don't know what this means. Arab lawyer, a liar. I mean, Israel is also, and this is coming from someone from Israel, and I also want to mention Israel is 20% Arab, and many Israelis benefit from their Arab citizens in Israel as well. Israel is a country because it's a great country, partly because it respects its Arab population. So let's just be mindful about that type of language here on this channel. Yes, see, Ahmed here saying Arab atheist here. Love to have you here. Fantastic. Let's continue.
You think none of it's happened?
No, I don't believe.
You're trying to put a little protective shield up to what Hamas did. And my response is, I don't know why you would do that.
Hamas being an Islamic faction, I'm not a big fan, but you should not punish our population because a militant group did some atrocities. What else do you accept? If you treat people like animals, they will behave like animals.
Well, all these cars were obviously blown up by Israel. Hamas didn't do that to any of them. Hamas didn't rape or abuse any women. And it's all bullshit.
Okay, I need to address this this nonsense Tariya claim in the live chat. They use Tariya, bro. The stereotype exists. You're not very smart, I have to tell you. Okay, first of all, most Muslims don't even know about Tariya, and even Tariya is mostly used by Shia scholars. Tariya is actually something that Sunnis accuse Shias of doing. It's not even among Shias. It's not widely recognized by the average population. Again, I'm anti-Islam. And I know what I'm talking about, and you don't know what you're talking about. Okay, so this is not something commonly used. So stop making stuff up. You have no idea. And also, Bassem Youssef is a secular Arab, so he's full of crap. He's an idiot. I think, is probably an anti-Semite. I'm not sure. I don't care. He's just ridiculously anti-Israeli. That's what's more important here. And I'm going to basically show you his misinformation without accusing them of taqiyya. You have no idea what you're talking about. It's absolutely, yes, somebody was saying in the live chat, saying they use taqiyya is cringe. It's absolute cringe. It's nonsense. It makes you look like fools. Come to my channel to show you why Islam is ridiculous, because when you shout out taqiyya, you look like an idiot that doesn't know what you're talking about. You have no idea what you're talking about. You just learn this one word and you just go around say taqiyya, taqiyya, taqiyya. No, Islam is ridiculous and barbaric and insane and violent for other reasons. This is not it. This is not something that is widely used.
A year ago this week, I interviewed an exiled Egyptian comedian about the aftermath of October the 7th. It was a time of intense anger and passion. Bassem Youssef's jarring and satirical take became globally iconic. A month later, we met again, face-to-face, in his adopted home city of Los Angeles. And Bassem has since become an unwitting global spokesman for the Palestinian cause and against the way it's been reported by Western media. Well, more than a year in, the war rages on. There's a lot to catch up on. For the first time ever in the Uncensored studio here in London, Bassem Youssef rejoins me. Bassem, great to see you.
Great to see you too.
Finally in London, yes. My home city, finally. Extraordinary that it's been a year. When you think back to that first interview that we did, that 23 million people watched around the world, and I still get asked about it all the time. Just take me back to how you were feeling then. It was so, in the immediate aftermath of October the 7th, Israel's response was coming very hard at the time. What was in your mind at the time when you did that interview and the way you conducted it?
I was very scared. I was advised by my managers and agents not to do the interview because I could lose my career. And I just took it because, and I actually, as a matter of fact, your producers asked me a couple of times and I said no, because,
really?
And then I said, like, I had to do it.
I want to play, just for those who haven't seen it, there aren't many, but let's take a look at some of that first interview.
Those Palestinians, they're very dramatic. Israel killing us. But they never die. I mean, they always come back. You know, they're very difficult to kill, very difficult people to kill. I know because I'm married to one. I tried many times, couldn't kill her.
I mean, there's a dark humor there.
I mean, okay, so first of all, I'm waiting for the claims. I noticed Bassem Youssef, he doesn't actually have any points, and every time he's cornered, he just makes a joke. I'm not going to comment on the jokes. I don't think they make any. The jokes that he makes doesn't make any point. They don't. I mean, I'm not against comedy. I'm not against joke. I'm not against dark humor either. I just prefer it when you make. It's just irrelevant to what we're reviewing here. You know, I don't know why people think if you want to enjoy comedy. But if you think somebody is being funny, therefore that makes them. I mean, I don't find it funny, but if you find it funny, the problem is that a lot of people think something is truer when they like the comedy of the person who's saying it. And I think Bassem notices that, right? So that's why a lot of people look to comedians to tell them their news, because just the comedic effect of it makes them feel there must be a truth to it. So just be careful for that trap. Like not just Bassem Youssef, like even like people who are on your side, right? So let's say somebody is pro-Israeli and they're saying the things that you like and they're making jokes about it, like a comedy about it. It's okay to laugh about it, but just be careful not to think that your position is correct because of the comedic, because of the comedy. Just be careful about that. Okay, so let's continue.
And I understand why, because
Oh, it's
sometimes-
not dark human. I try to get to her every time, but she uses our kids as human shields. I can never take her out. I really applaud Israel.
So that's saying, oh, I can't take her out because she uses our kids as human shields. Making light of the fact that making it seem like the accusation that Hamas or Hezbollah use human shield are baseless. They're not baseless. This has been completely verified. The fact that Hamas and Hezbollah use human shields has been verified. So you can make jokes about it, but that's reality.
Israel for doing one thing that no military force in the world does. Because I heard Ben Shapiro and I heard Ron DeSantis, and they said Israel is the only military force in the world that warns civilians before bombing them. I mean, how fucking cute. That is so nice of them. Because with this logic, if Russian troops started warning Ukrainians before bombing their houses, we're cool with Putin, right? I mean, okay, Habibi, you have warned them, go invade. It's fine. You have done your job.
So you understand what's happening here. So there's two wrongs. There's two different wrongs. One is the invasion by Putin. The other one is the killing of civilians. So you're mixing up two different accusations. If you warn people before you bomb an area, that's an indication that in your favor that you're trying to reduce civilian casualties. He says that when we say Israel warns people before they bomb an area, that's an indication that they're trying to reduce civilian casualty. We're not saying whether an invasion is or occupation is justified or not. We're just making a claim about the specific methodology in which you use to conduct war seems to be in a way to reduce civilian casualties. Now, whether the war itself is justified or not, that's a different topic. There's two topics here. Whether the war is justified, whether you're conducting the war in a way that is justified. These two are two different judgments. When we're noticing that Israel warns people before they bomb an area, that's in their favor regards to the methodology. Whether the war is justified, we could argue that as well. So when you take this to Putin, you say, oh, that's so cute. So if Putin warns Ukrainians before they bombard an area, does that make the invasion justified? No. We could still judge the invasion as unjustified. However, if Putin did warn Ukrainian civilians before he bombarded an area, regards to the methodology, we could judge that maybe Putin is trying to reduce civilian casualties. And so do you see how he mixed that? He thinks that this is a straw man, as if we are arguing that the entire war is justified. No, the war is justified for other reasons. The warning before the bombardment is a judgment on the method in which the war is conducted, not a judgment on whether the war is justified. So he changes the claim as if we're saying the war is justified because Israel is warning civilians before bombarding by comparing that to Putin. No. Okay, so you understand what I'm saying here? It's very important to be able to put these in different compartments and judge them separately. And him, by mixing them, is trying to confuse you. But also notice how he's acknowledging that Israel does warn before bombardment. So even if you want to argue that the occupation or the war is unjustified, can you acknowledge that that is something that most other militaries don't do in this world? Can you acknowledge that that is an attempt to reduce civilian casualty because you're accepting the fact that Israel does do the warning, something that Putin doesn't do? Do you not understand that Israel will become a more moral army because they do that? It does matter. That does matter. Yes. By the way, when I say occupation, if the occupation is justified, please understand that occupation is not necessarily a bad thing. If a certain area is a threat to your nation, and if you let it go, they will become a greater threat to your nation. That is both morally and based on international laws, you are justified to occupy that area. So just remember that, because we're going to talk about this more.
It was a brilliantly devastating technique you used in that interview, which took me a while to work out.
Yeah, to be honest, it is a brilliant technique because a lot of people get confused by comedy. A lot of people, instead of fact checking, instead of seeing if the logic holds, Bassem Youssef has noticed that he doesn't have to make sense as long as he appears to be making some sort of comedy. That is just an effective way of selling bullshit.
Devastating technique you used in that interview, which took me a while to work out what you were doing and why you were doing it. It's very powerful, resonated with many people very closely. Where do you think we are with this war now? And in fact, not just the war, obviously, in Gaza, but the wider war that's raging now in Lebanon, the threats against Iran, and so on, the whole thing.
I mean, Israel is defending itself, right? I mean, that's what the Western media is telling us.
They would say they are.
Yeah, yeah, and I want to buy into it. I'm trying to convince my.
Can you buy into any of their logic that they believe they are defending themselves?
Okay.
Do you believe them that they believe that?
Let's put that on the test. So if Israel is defending itself, it's defending itself against an imminent danger, like an existential threat. I don't understand.
Okay, so you don't have to be against you could be defending yourself against both imminent dangers and non-imminent dangers. So I don't know why he has to change, like, oh, if Israel is defending itself, it must be defending itself against an imminent danger. No, you could defend yourself against all forms of danger.
Understand if, for example, Macron would announce that he will impose an embargo in Israel's arms, and then Israel goes and bombs the French oil facilities in Lebanon. How is that defending themselves? There's like.
Okay, so here, let's look at this. Okay, he says, let's look at this claim. He says, if Israel is defending itself, then why is it that when Macron puts an embargo on weapon sales to Israel, they will go and bomb a French
facilities in Lebanon? How is that defending themselves? And Israel goes and bombs the French oil facilities in Lebanon. How is
French oil facility in Lebanon? Okay, so I'm gonna look to see if that happens. Okay, but before I check that, what if it did happen? Does that mean Israel is not defending itself? Does that mean that Israel is not defending itself? Or maybe Israel is defending itself, and sometimes it does some questionable things. First of all, this accusation seems to be false. Let me just double check this. There's some fact checkers in this. Fact check. Let me bring up the fact checks. Okay, this is actually very easy to check, by the way. Israel target. Yeah, no. This is absolute garbage. Okay, so here, let me share this screen. So this seems to be regarding that. Has Israel deliberately targeted French multinational company Total Energies gas station in Beirut. Okay, so this is a couple of fact checkers figuring out that this is fact. This is false fact check. So there's two fact there. Let me check two fact checkers, right? Sure. Fact check. Did Israel target a Total Energies gas station in Beirut following Macron's military aid ban? And again, so you could read all of this fact check, and then let me just read this. A post on X claims that Israel targeted a Total Energies gas station in Beirut after French President Emmanuel Macron banned military aid to Israel. Verdict false. There is no evidence to support the claim that Israel deliberately targeted. Okay, so you could just read this whole thing in full, but I have two fact checks here that both of them are saying it's fake. Let me just read maybe a summary version of it. Okay. Several fact-checking sources have debunked the claim that Israel bombed French facilities, such as those owned by Total Energies in Beirut, allegedly in response to French President Emmanuel Macron's call for an arms embargo on Israel. Social media posts initially circulated this false information, asserting that Israel targeted Total Energies gas station in Lebanon. However, fact-checkers confirmed that while Israel airstrikes have targeted Hezbollah-related infrastructure in southern Beirut, there is no evidence that these strikes deliberately or accidentally hit French-owned facilities. A spokesperson, okay, so there's that, but also, yeah, so basically that's a whole bunch of nonsense. But even if it is true, which is not, this was pure nonsense, that wouldn't even mean, like, let's say, for example, France did embargo on Israel. So, by the way, that doesn't affect Israel that much, because France doesn't sell that much weaponry to Israel. But let's say that's true. And then Israel decided to, like, okay, that's bullshit, and we're going to blow up your energy facility in southern Beirut or Lebanon. I forgot where it says, right? So that would not address the question. That would not negate the fact that Israel is defending himself. You could say, like, okay, they are defending themselves, but they are defending themselves using questionable methods, but it doesn't not answer the question that Piers was asking. So notice how he's spreading false information, but even the false information, even if it was true, it would not make the question, it's not even responding to the question being asked.
Said defending themselves.